Right.
Today on Gunslinger Firearms and Gear, we're going to do a head-to-head comparison of two popular single-stack 9mm semi-automatics. We have a Smith Wesson M&P Shield, and we have the Beretta Nano. We previously did a review of the Beretta Nano, and we've acquired this Shield, and we're going to see, with two popular guns in that category, just kind of going to see what we can find as far as any flaws or any pluses, minuses, anything that we can do to help you guys out make choices for a everyday carry gun.
The Smith & Wesson M&P Shield, I'm not really a fan of most of these single-stack subcompact carry guns, but this one actually comes with extended magazines, and you can buy these as an accessory, aftermarket. And I think that it may feel a little bit better in my hand, but whenever we get to shooting, I guess I'll see.
I think that, as you've seen before with the review that we did with the Nano, it shot pretty well. It's an acquired taste as far as the trigger goes, and I think that might be something that is with most of these subcompact guns. The small grips and the triggers have got to be something that a person that's used to a full-size gun has got to get used to.
All right, Jeff, let's talk about the differences between these two guns.
Okay, from what you can tell, they're really incredibly similar in size. Putting the two guns together on top of one another, as you can see, the Nano's got a little shorter grip and a little shorter overall length from here to here. Top to bottom, they're almost identical. Setting them up this way, the Nano, you can tell the difference in the grip here. You've got a little bit more gripping surface on the back side of the Shield grip, and the Nano is a little thicker in this area than what the Shield is. The slide-wise, they're almost identical. The biggest difference is right here. You've got quite a bit more sight over hand area than what you do with the Shield, to the tune of about like that. As far as overall height, that's that difference in that grip right there. And of course right here you can see front to back the difference between the two here. The length of pull on the triggers are somewhat comparable, maybe a little longer on the Nano than it is on the Shield. But as far as capacity goes, you have a 6-round and an 8-round magazine with the Nano. With the Shield, you've got a standard 7-round magazine, and the extended magazines are 8. So we have 8 rounds each here, but you've got one more round in the Shield standard flush mount magazine. Sights are standard 3-dot sights. And the biggest gripe I have against this gun, but for this gun, is locks back and you have a manual slide stop. Locks back and you don't have squat. Whether that's important or not, during a malfunction or something like that, or after range, you have to have a magazine in it to lock it back. Of course you can take your magazine out, but you have to take an empty magazine out before you can get your slide to go home if you just want to get your gun out of that locked back position. As you can see with the magazines, as far as comparison wise, what we have here, the Smith & Wesson Shield has a quasi single double stack magazine. It feeds single stack here, but it kind of staggers the ammunition just a hair. Not quite a true single stack like the Beretta Nano, but this is a 7-round magazine and this is a 6-round magazine. Look how thin it is. That base plate on the Beretta is huge. It makes it difficult to carry extra magazines because of that shape. When you put those two together, there's a sizable difference between those two magazines. That base plate is huge. When you look at the two extended magazines, that single double stack continues with the 8-round magazine from the Smith Wesson Shield, and you have this grip extender right here, which you can take off. So carrying this concealed as an extra magazine wouldn't be that hard if you take this piece off. It does slip on and off if you want it. Of course, shooting, it's going to be more comfortable with it on there. The base plate, of course, from the Nano is not removable. It does, you know, it's blocky, it's big. But one thing that Terry and I both noticed is both of these are 8-round magazines, and they're exact same length, even though this is kind of a quasi double stacked magazine. Now Terry and I are going to shoot both the Nano and the Shield. They've got the flush mount magazine and the extended magazines each. We're both going to shoot the flush mount and the extended, and then give our impressions. All right, I'm going to shoot the Nano first with the flush mount magazine, and we'll see what happens. Now I'm going to shoot it with the extended magazine in the Nano. Now it's Terry's turn.
All right, I'm shooting the Beretta Nano with the flush fit magazine. And now we'll trade that out for the extended mag. And as before, I thought this felt better with the extended magazine. Didn't do too bad. Now we're both going to do the EMP Shield.
Okay, this is my first time shooting the Smith Wesson Shield ever. I've handled several of these guns, but I've never fired one. So I'll definitely have a first impression of what it's like to shoot the gun. I'm going to try the flush mount magazine first, and then we'll go from there. My impression right away, I'm just going to go ahead and say this before I shoot the other one, the gun has surprised the living daylights out of me. More recoil than the Nano, but incredibly easier to shoot. I'm just going to say that just straight up. I'm going to take the extended magazine and fire it again. The reason I just wanted to try it rapid fire was just to see my hit potential, and as far as shooting, kept it on target, and didn't really think that was a waste of ammo, even though it sort of felt like it, but I'm impressed.
So for me, the same as with Jeff, this is my first time shooting the EMP Shield, and based on his reaction, I'm expecting a little bit of a surprise myself. I'm going to start off with the flush mount magazine. Definitely different than the Nano. The trigger feels completely different. The grip of the gun in my hand, it's a lot more positive for me than what it was with the Nano. And it's a little bit snappier, but I believe that the M&P Shield has a slightly higher barrel axis than the Nano does, and that could be a contributing factor. Now I'm going to shoot the extended magazine. Definitely felt better with the extended magazine. The texturing on this grip, I like that a lot. It feels very nice in my hand. It's very positive, positive grip. Okay, there's a couple things that I would like to talk about with each of these guns. The trigger pull on the Nano, I don't really care for it. It has a long pull and it has a long reset. The M&P Shield was very surprising. It had a pretty short pull, and the reset was nice. It could have been a little more crisp for my taste, but all around a much better trigger.
And you know, I'll be the first one to admit, I'll tell you, I have actually badmouthed this gun even though I had never fired one. The M&P shielding really surprised me. Just in feeling the gun, the grip doesn't fit me. And just in dry firing the gun, the trigger seems atrocious to me. Firing the gun, I'll have to take everything back. The gun was comfortable to fire. I stayed on target. The trigger wasn't anything that would get me off target like I would have thought just by depressing it, you know, dry. It was really quick to recover to line of sight after firing. You know, just to, you know, have a little note about both of the guns. I mean, both of the guns ran 100%. You know, zero malfunctions. You know, we had the test on the Nano. It was zero malfunctions. and today, with firing again, zero malfunctions. Of course, there weren't any malfunctions with the Shield. You know, you saw everything on video. I felt less recoil with the Nano than I did with the Shield. The recoil was a little more harsh, if you want to say harsh, with the Shield than the Nano. The control, as far as the magazine release, is easy to get to on the Nano. The slide's not hard to pull back. The lack of the manual slide stop on the Nano compared to the Shield is something that it's something that anyone could get used to, but I just prefer that exterior mounted slide stop on the Shield. The sights were easy to pick up on both guns. It was just, for me, quite a bit easier to shoot the Shield than the Nano. That trigger on the Nano was just a really different feel compared to any other trigger that I've felt before.
Just another side note, something that I really don't care for, and this gun is available with and without it, but it also has an external safety right here, and I find this a little bit difficult to operate in a draw and fire type of situation, because you're going to need to use this part of your knuckle to push that down or up, and it's a little bit difficult to get to unless you manipulate your hand more to use the tip of your finger. That's a feature that the Beretta Nano does not have.
And just to be truthful, I mean, a defensive firearm doesn't need a manual safety. If it needs a manual safety, the gun's not safe to carry to begin with. You know, Smith Wesson makes it available with and without it, as Terry said, and I've heard over and over and over, a person will pick up a revolver and have no problem with that gun not having an external safety on it at all. But the first thing they want to do when they pick up a semi-automatic, where's the safety?
Go ahead. I'm sorry. One of the big things about having an external manual safety with this type of firearm, a lot of what I hear is that people are afraid that putting it into a pocket or putting it into a soft holster will has the potential to pull the trigger. And you know, I prefer to carry in a hard Kydex or a polymer type of holster. So I think that you know, with the wide variety of inside the waistband and concealed carry kydex and hard holsters that are available, you know, that's what you should be using for concealed carry anyway.
I agree to a certain extent, but you know, as long as your holster that you have doesn't have a finger that protrudes into the trigger guard, you're more than likely going to be safe. Safe handling of a firearm starts with the user. The way I see it is safety is not a mechanical device, it's a way of thinking. And if you don't have that safety mindset, you don't have any business carrying a firearm to begin with.
I completely agree.
You know, as far as with any holster that you might choose with either gun, as long as the gun's accessible, it's covering the trigger, and you know, you can get a hold of the grip, you know, that's the most important thing. But of course, both of these are concealed carry guns that I would consider concealed carry firearms. So, you know, inside the pant holsters, my gosh, there are so many holsters out there now. There's more holsters than our guns. So I mean, that's up to you as far as what you pick. But either one of the guns would be great for concealed carry, but both of us do agree the external safety is something I would not have in that gun.
Touching back on safety, you guys will never see us shooting without ear pro and eye pro, and that's something that we urge all of you to exercise as well, as shooting safely.
That's correct. Thanks for watching Gunslinger Firearms and Gear. This concludes another successful review. The Nano and the Shield, I think personally both of us really like that Shield.
Yeah, overall I definitely prefer the Shield over the Nano.
Yeah, that's total agreement. I'll take back anything bad I've said about the Shield to anybody that knows me. Well, like I say, thanks for watching. If you can, please like our videos on YouTube and subscribe. Like us on Facebook. Stay tuned. We're going to have more. Thanks a lot.